All right, let's do this. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Uper Farmer. Out here again in the garage, doing your garage cigar talks. How's everyone doing? Hope you're all doing quite well. I'm doing pretty good. Pretty good, actually. A couple of updates. One, first we'll start off the standard. Here's the cigar. It is, and I feel bad. The last video, I had another RP. I kept saying Rocky Pearl or Rocky Point. It's actually Rocky Petal. I feel bad. But it's the Rocky Petal The Edge. A Churchill cigar, a little bit bigger than that, actually. Good size cigar, actually. Not bad. Not bad at all. For tonight, we have the Abbey Triple Belgium style ale, certified that it's been cellar aged. Can't really see the Sprecher Brewery. Looked interesting when I saw it in the cooler, so I decided to give her a whirl, give it a try. Let's see how it is. Not a lot of head going on this beer. Nice color. Dark amber. I don't know if I'd call that a red necessarily. I guess we could. We could say that's a red, but definitely a darker beer, or excuse me, a lighter beer. Not bad. A little sweet, actually. 8%. I think I saw 8.4% alcohol. Wisconsin beer. Well, that's why it's lighter. Anyhow, welcome. I am trying out a new light to see how this new light does. The battery on this one's a lot better. Kind of a pain in the butt to get in a good position. You can kind of see there's some shadowing going on. But we're going to try it out. I still have the other one. This one doesn't have any filters yet. I might pick up some filters so that it isn't as harsh. This is actually the lowest setting. The highest setting definitely bleached everything out and kind of gave my humble little camera here a run for its money. So we'll give it a try. See how it looks in post. Maybe I can dullen it up a little bit or find some filters for it. So what to talk about tonight? Well, in the last video, I promised everyone I was going to be doing some short films. And I know those will be out before this movie or this Garage Talk posts. A good chance they'll actually be out before the Garage Talk about making videos posts. Just because I'm really excited to get those started. Have some great ideas. Hoping I can get those rolling in the next couple of weekends. Including on the Fridays and Saturdays where I can kind of save some of my time not doing Garage Talks. But tonight, I want to talk about education. So, as some of my devoted fans will know, I graduated school summa cum barely, as my dad would put it. I definitely was not top of my class. He would say with pride I wasn't the bottom of my class, but I definitely could shake that guy's hand. In high school, I had very, very low motivation. In K through 12, I had very low motivation for school. A lot of that stemmed from me being bullied quite a bit. My dyslexia, which I promise that video is coming up here pretty soon. It made school very, very hard. So I didn't really want to go to school. I didn't enjoy it. I didn't see much value in it besides the means to an end of getting out of school and moving on to college. And even at the time, I didn't really want to go to college when I was mostly going through high school. I can gladly say there was one English professor or English teacher who motivated me to finish high school. It was touch and go there for a while. I thought maybe I wouldn't finish, maybe go to an alternative path, since it really wasn't for me. But thankfully, I had an English teacher who kind of convinced me otherwise. He was willing to work with all students, actually. There were only a handful of us that really took him up on his offer. As you might imagine, I was a terrible writer. But I used to sit, he ran a study hall and had some office hours. He was willing to meet with students. And I would bring in my papers, show him my paper. He'd give me suggestions. I'd rewrite it, show it to him again. He'd rewrite it, give me little suggestions, so on and so forth. I'll never forget one of the first papers I did that with. He looks at it and he said, "Wow, you worked really hard on this, I can tell." It's a bad paper, though. It's really bad. This is not good at all. But I can tell you put hard work into it. You were dedicated. You put in the extra mile. I can't give you an A, but how about I give you a solid B minus? And I was ecstatic. That was the best grade I ever got in an English paper up until that point. Unbeknownst to me at the time, what he was doing was instilling a benefit reward or an understanding that hard work could pay off. So I continued for the rest of that semester actually to go in and repeat the process, rinse and repeat. Go in, have him help me with my paper. He'd tell me it was a really crappy paper, but because I put in the effort, he was willing to give me a better grade. It really did, though, help me to work harder on my English, on my homework, to the point where at the end of the school year, I was getting solid B minuses, B pluses without his little interjection of points. So I still, though, I really wasn't amped about school. He really helped me get through it, kind of showed me the benefits of hard work and utilizing some of the shortcuts that I had come up with as a compensation mechanism for being dyslexic that I could utilize to my advantage in other areas of my life. So during this time also, I started to go get my EMT. And I remember 2 calls. The first one was a massive car accident. The literal blood on the pavement type car accidents. Gas, oil, battery acid, car parts everywhere, people ejected from vehicles, pure pandemonium. Car accident. Get into the thick of it. It's kind of very new, actually, to the EMS field. I was still doing my training. This was one of my first calls, actually. And I have a person who tells me, the medic in charge tells me, grab C-spine. I just do as told. And I could literally feel a wave crushing over me. The whole scene was just coming one jumbled mess, and I couldn't focus. I didn't understand. I didn't know what to do next. I couldn't hear what the person in front of me was saying. And then suddenly something happened. Something clicked. A light turned on. A clarity, a focus. Maybe it was just the adrenaline finally started pumping through my veins. My body responded to it appropriately. That my eyes were clear. The scene made sense. I organized it. I knew what I had to do. Patient assessment, the treatments I had to do, the equipment I had to call for, extrication, what the process with that was going to be. Next step, started making a plan in my head of what we were going to do for the patients. It was utter beauty. I imagine it almost like a symphony orchestra, a violinist or a French horn, who it finally clicks their piece in that orchestra. They can finally have the clarity of knowing what to do next and seeing the harmony that they can impart into this organized chaos. It was beautiful. really was. That gave me a passion for EMS. I wanted to do it more. Then, about a month and a half later, there was another call. I was on a Bravo rig, a basic rig, doing my training. And we get the call for another traumatic injury. Person in severe pain. They're bleeding out. We're doing the best we can for them. And I was very much further along in my program. I got to a point where I knew my abilities and my skills ended. There was nothing I could do for this person. I tried to do as many comfort measures as I could. They were still in excruciating pain. I stopped the bleeding and tried to use the tricks we had back in the day to give them some more blood to their central core. It wasn't enough. They needed IVs. They needed pain management. They needed advanced orthopedic procedures that I didn't have. I didn't know. And that feeling of not knowing what to do frustrated the hell out of me. I got angry with myself. And it was at that moment, I was still in high school at the time, I was bound and determined to become a paramedic. Because damn it, I wasn't going to have that feeling again, that feeling of hopelessness. Knowing there was more I could do, but not being able to do it because of the lack of my license. So I told my dad, Dad, I'm going to go be a paramedic. And at the time, I did my research. One of the best, in the top 5 of the nation pass rates for paramedics was Lake Superior State University. Their program was actually ranked in many magazines and articles. That's where I wanted to go. I wanted to be the best. My dad, of course, told me that instead I should not waste my money because I probably wasn't going to pass anyway, and I should stay and do the local paramedic program. Not as good, mind you, but, whether you get a degree or a certificate, you get paid the same, which was true back then. My dad actually told me it was a waste of my time and a waste of my money because I probably wouldn't pass college. Again, I graduated summa cum barely. Hit college, and for the first time I wanted to learn. I wanted an education. I wanted to be there. So I really dedicated myself, really pushed myself hard, used the tricks that my English teacher had proven to me that hard work could pay off, using tricks and techniques to get around my dyslexia. Graduated with my degree. Did not make the honor roll or summa cum laude or anything like that. I wish I could sit here and tell you. I graduated Magna Carta, but I did not. I did make the dean's list. Not the good dean's list. I was a bit of a troublemaker. It didn't affect my grades or my standing, but I definitely lived the college life to its fullest. And that was great. I passed. I proved my dad wrong. Proved a lot of people, actually, in my life wrong who didn't think I could get a college degree. Worked as a paramedic. Loved every minute of it. Got into my ambulance accidents, which I've talked about before. Might talk about some more detail here in an upcoming video. And at that point, I knew I couldn't do EMS for the rest of my life. It wasn't fair to my family. So my backup plan, I became an instructor, an EMS instructor. That was interesting. To be trained on how to be a teacher. Now, I had taught things before, of course. CPR, first aid, wilderness survival, little simple trainings like that, of course, not amounting to much. But learning the theory behind teaching, it was enthralling to me. It was one of the hardest things. Any EMS professionals out there, if you go into EMS education, it's going to be one of the hardest damn things you've ever do. It's a lot of theory. Medics, EMTs, we deal in facts. I give drug A. Does the patient get better? Do they get worse? They got worse. Okay, I do drug C. Do they get better? Do they get worse? They got better. All right. Teaching, though. All right, I'm here with the student. I use theory A. Does it work? Well, kinda. Oh, good, kinda. I'm excited. Kinda is better than no. Okay, I try theory B. Does that make things better or worse? Ooh, for student A, that made things better. For student B, that made things worse. Student C had fallen asleep, and you find out next week that that theory has mostly been debunked. All right, I tried again. Oh, you tried it again, and it worked for all three students. Great. It was difficult. I loved it, though. It was a challenge. I liked being challenged. I liked learning about testing theory and about lesson plans and about learning structures. It was good. I got my licensed as an instructor coordinator. I took the same passion I had for being a road paramedic, a critical care paramedic, and applied that to my EMS classes. Got great reviews, actually. One of the ones I always like to share, I was doing a mandatory training for a group of individuals. I still have this evaluation. I like to hang this one out, bring it out every now and then. The person said in their evaluation, "Thank you. I wanted to commit suicide the least during your class. Good job." I took that as a win. A lot of the trainings were very boring that day. I got mad props because mine was actually interesting and informational. Hell, I'm taking it as a win. So I started to progress as an instructor, and then the state of Michigan made an announcement. They were switching to COAMPs for their paramedic programs. It was a national switch. They had to do it. Yada, yada, yada. But to teach paramedics, you needed a bachelor's degree. Sadly, at the time, when I had earned my associate's degree, I thought about going and staying on for my bachelor's. But as much as I had learned to appreciate school, I had definitely learned I was done with it. So I did not get my bachelor's. I only had my associate's degree. So I had to go back to school to get my bachelor's. But this time, I had to pay for it all myself. I wasn't going to get grants or scholarships. Loans were pretty non-existent. Thanks to some governmental finagling. I won't mention the administrations or my political feelings on that. We'll just leave it at there was a key time when politically how student loans were delved out changed drastically. There's something about paying for your own education. This is my money. I'm paying this. It's an amazing motivator to do good. I dived head on into my bachelor's. Health education, that's what it turned out to be. I dedicated myself harder, stronger. I used, again, the same vigor I had as a critical care paramedic to dive into my bachelor's. I did graduate, top of my class. Summa cum laude. Take that, Dad. Dyslexic boy who couldn't give a crap about school, graduated top of his class, top 10. And it was good. Well, I kept teaching EMS. I still teach EMS now. But there's that feeling, that nagging feeling, because I'm not on the road. It feels very disingenuous for me to teach. One of the things I learned during my educational classes is the saying, those who can do, those who can't teach. That was actually a horrible slam on the public school system, saying that why would you have inexperienced people educate the next generation? is very much a slam on instructors. It's funny, I'll hear instructors utilize that and say that with almost pride. Those who can do, those who can't teach. You don't want burnouts. You don't want has-beens teaching these classes. You don't want people who couldn't cut it. You want people at the top of the line who can still do it. Now, I can still do it. I could jump on a rig tomorrow. I still try to keep up my skills, the little tricks of the trade that I picked up throughout the years to keep your fine dexterity better. I study all the information, go through simulations still, case studies, everything you need to stay current and up to date. But when I teach some of these topics, I feel bad that I haven't done some of this stuff in the field in years. So that feeling, that sensation has kind of got me thinking that, you know what, I better think about this. So I decided to get back to school to get my teaching license, my teaching certificate to teach middle school and high school. And at the time of this video, it's kind of fun. I just started this week. I started my classes. But by the time this video airs in about 2 months, I should be done. I should have completed all my training and will be on to my student teaching phase, hopefully. It's kind of an interesting feeling. An interesting realization that when this video actually airs, I will have done one better. I'll be a dyslexic, school-hating paramedic who turned his life around and did something with it. Became an educator, became a teacher, the thing I hated for years. I hated teachers. We'll see. Again, I'm on track. I'm on schedule to do that, to finish all the trainings, take the big placement teachers test. Again, should all be done before this video airs. It's interesting talking about the future from the past. I hope I do hold up to the standards I've set for myself and that I am on my way to being a licensed educator so I can teach middle through high school. I know the phases of teaching. There's the fairy tale phase when everything's lovely and great and roses and buttercups, just getting out of school. Then you go into survival. In survival, that's when everything's going wrong. You got into the teaching spectrum. Your students hate you. You hate your job. It's make it or break it time. Then you get to mastery. If you make it through survival, most teachers don't, especially in this day and age. I believe the life expectancy for a teacher is almost as low as a paramedic. 5 years, one license cycle, most teachers tap out. Just like EMS, within 3 to 5 years, we tap out. So it'd be interesting to face that countdown again. I know when I got my medic, I had a bit of a party when I renewed my license for the second time because I figured I'd beaten the statistics, I'd beaten the odds, and I did. Same thing for a teacher, though. 5 years. A lot of them tap out. So hopefully I can get into that mastery phase where I realize that kind of find my niche in teaching like I have in EMS education. I'm hoping they're transferable and relatable. I think they will be. I have a feeling they will be. I've had some people comment when I've taught in schools. I've taught in hour-long classes and 2-hour-long classes about EMS and about health careers and whatnot, and had a lot of positive feedback from high school teachers who are amazed that I'm not already a licensed educator. Well, I am a licensed educator for EMS, but you know what I mean. I'm not a K through 12 licensed educator. Had one of them start talking about teacher union stuff because she thought I was in the union. So that's kind of encouraging. it is interesting being back learning education, a lot of the stuff, because I've taught other EMS instructors, so I've had to really learn about education theory. The best way to learn something is to teach it, hands down. 100%, can't deny that. A lot of my former students, I've been regaling them with the fact that I'm back learning education like I had taught them, and a lot of them are very happy to hear that I'll be tortured by other instructors. They'll be torturing me with the theories of Bloom's taxonomy and interdependent learning and multiple intelligences. I'm excited for it, though. I think I'll do good. Again, that might be just me being the fairy tale phase, the honeymoon phase of being a teacher. Time will tell. I'm excited to see what's to come next. But anyway, I'm going to go enjoy the rest of my cigar and my beer. I hope everyone is doing well. I don't know, it's kind of motivational video for myself. Hopefully it motivates some of you if you're interested in going back to school or getting into education. Maybe you have a disability that you believe you can't do that. The world believes you can't do that. Definitely when I do the dyslexia, but that might be the next one I'm going to do. The next video, talk about dyslexia, talk about disabilities, have a cheerleading pom-pom, palms in, go team video. Yeah, I guess this one's more for me. This one is kind of getting me amped up and motivated, ready to become an educator. To do something I can definitely say none of my family, none of my friends in high school, none of my teachers for sure in high school would ever imagine the dyslexic, dumb little kid who couldn't give two shits about school would be doing. It's actually kind of funny. That thought of proving everyone wrong, damn, that's motivating. And I know I'll face it just like I have everything else with that medic mindset. The same medic who restarted a little child's heart, delivered babies, pulled people out of cars, stared down the barrel of guns, yelled at doctors and nurses, helped hold down a crazy person, also sat there with someone who was crying, having a mental breakdown, holding someone's hand and looking them in the eye and telling them it was going to be all right. And damn it, I meant it. If that won't make me a good teacher, I guess I'm setting myself up for failure, and I'm okay with that. Anyway, that got all mushy and kind of girly there at the end. So, with that, ladies and gentlemen, I wish you adieu. Hope everyone stays safe, and we'll talk to you on the next one.